What's good, YouTube? It's your man D-Man, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be analyzing Group B of the 6 Invitational 2023. Now, I've already done Group A and posted it on the channel. I posted at like 1 a.m. Yeah, I'm really struggling to get these out. I have work and everything, so it's been a little tough, but I'm committed to getting these out. I'm going to Group B, and I hope to get this out within the next few hours. If you're interested in Rainbow Six content or any other content, I stream live on Twitch. I'm going to start getting back on my live stream channel now that I have floors in my house. Yeah, that was a thing for a little bit. I didn't have floors for quite a while in my gaming room and everything. But now that that's all fixed, I'm going to get back to a regular schedule. But hey, we're not here to talk about a gold level Siege player. We're here to talk about the best players in the world at SI. In particular, we're talking about Group B. Group B is not near as strong as Group A was. However, I think there's some pretty good teams here. We're going to start off with Team Liquid, the number 2 power rated team, according to my ELO rankings, which if you don't know my ELO rankings, I'll make a video about it if y'all are really interested in how I'm coming up with these numbers. But they are the number 2 team, and they rank in at Emerald 1. Now, Team Liquid has been very, very consistent throughout most of its Siege existence, honestly. And this year was not much different. Stage 1, 2nd place in BR6. Stage 2, 6th place in BR6, and then they got 2nd place again in Stage 3. So that means they made it to 2 majors, one being Charlotte, which they placed 3rd through 4th, and one being Sweden. Not gonna try I'm not trying it. I almost did it. 2nd place at Sweden, which they were this close to beating BDS, but heartbreak happened to the Brazilian team, and they couldn't get it done. If you look at their stats here, they have 17 wins and 10 losses in BR6, which is pretty good for a really tough league. Then at the major, they went 18-9, which is really good when you're playing the best in the world. And hey, they are one of the best teams in the world. We're going to look at the players. We'll start with Nesk and Palu, who are the mainstays on this team. 2 of the best players in the world, especially Palu. Then you have ASK, Resets, and Lagonis. Lagonis, the new man on the block, is really kind of brought some interesting things to this team. He's not much of a fragger, but he plays his role really well, and his teams win. Even when Lagonis was on teams that didn't have the star power of the Palus and the Nesks and the Asks and the Resets, his teams won. If you remember his Team 1 days, his teams played fairly good and were always competitive. But the biggest story when it comes to Team Liquid's players is Palu. I mean, a 1.21 rating both in BR6 and at the majors he's gone to. I mean, he's one of the best players to probably ever pick up the mouse and key in Rainbow Six. However, that's about where our information dies here, because Liquid has yet to play any of these teams this year. They haven't played Direwolves, M&M Wolves, or Sonics, so it's a little bit of a wait and see on how they play these teams. Overall, I would give Liquid a 99% chance to get out of the group stage and make it to the playoff stage. I really can't see them losing to Direwolves. I could maybe see them losing a map to M&M or a map to Wolves, but really the only team that I think would beat them in a best of 3 is maybe Sonics, and they play Sonics day 1, which I think Sonics is going to have a couple issues there. That's enough about Liquid. Let's move on to the number 2 team, power rated at least, Wolves Esports. Wolf Esports is ranked number 8 on my ELO rankings, which puts them at Emerald 2 with the ELO score of 4,365. An interesting statistic about Wolves Esports, they are the only other team that's not named W7M that made every single major this year. They were 3rd place in EUL Stage 1, 1st in Stage 2, and 1st in Stage 3, so they were the most consistent EUL team out there. Now, the play at the majors did increase over the years. The first stage at Charlotte, they placed 9th through 12th, then they got to 5th through 8th at Berlin, 5th through 8th at Sweden as well. My big concern for Wolves is, have they reached the kind of pinnacle of their play? I mean, they really don't have just a bunch of superstars in this team. They just have a bunch of guys that are really good at the game, and they play well together. This major is going to tell us a lot if Wolves needs to build more to the roster, or if they just need to stick with this roster. I personally like it when teams stick with the roster for a while, just to kind of see what's wrong with them, and Wolves has done that for a while, so they should know what works and what doesn't work on this team. A quick look at their stage stats. In EUL, they were 18-9, which is pretty damn good. At majors, they were 11-11 though, so a lot closer there. I mean, 11 wins is pretty good, but 11 losses is also pretty bad. If you look at their players, the standout players to me are Bibu and Mogui. Mogui probably their best player. I mean, I don't know. Bibu's pretty damn good as well. Then you have a couple players like P4 and Shinka that are both serviceable and play fairly high-level Siege. Then you have Rise. Rise plays his role really well, except just sometimes he has some meme games that don't look so good. Wolves actually have a couple data points against teams that are in this group, those being M&M and Direwolves. They have a winning record against both. M&M, they are 2-1, the only loss coming in an 8-7 overtime. But the other two games, they kind of stomped them 7-2 both times. Direwolves, on the other hand, they have a winning record as well, 2-0 against them. They won the first one pretty convincingly, 7-2, then a 8-7 win here. My concern here is these are the worst two teams here, and they also have played at least one game against both teams that were very close. I really don't see Wolves getting grouped here. I mean, let's be honest, they could. Like, if you look at the talent skill level wise, they're kind of around the M&M Direwolves area. But if you look at production and everything they've done this year, they should be well above these two teams. If I had to give a percentage on it, I would say I would give Wolves Esports a 60% chance to make it to playoffs. All right, now we're going to move on to Sonic's Esports, which is, I actually don't know if it's Sonic's Esports. I should probably look that up before I say that out loud. But Sonic's, they are number 9 in the world according to my ELO rankings, not any other statistics, which puts them in Emerald 2 with an ELO score of 4,355. Now, if you look at their stage placements, Sonic's started off pretty slow with the 8th place finish in NAL Stage 1. However, they made a couple changes and were much better stages 2 and 3, getting second place in both of them. Now, because of this, they missed Charlotte, but then they made it to Berlin, didn't play so well, 13th through 16th. Then they go to Sweden and play probably the best seeds that I've seen them play, getting 3rd through 4th. I don't know why on my screen it only shows 3rd. That's a typo, my bad, guys. But if we look at their NAL stats, they had 14 wins and 13 losses. So it's, again, really tight there. That first stage really kind of creeping up on them. At the major, they were also 9-9. I mean, they had one really good stage at Sweden and one not so good stage at Berlin, so that kind of makes sense. Looking at the talent level in this team, this could be the best of any team at this Invitational. If you look at the top two guys, Grixer, I mean, is one of the best players in the world. Citizen, I think, is also one of the better players in this tournament. But then you also have a guy like Rexon, who is very, very solid, really good as well. I also love the potential of Gunnar. Gunnar hasn't quite had the major experience under him yet, so I'm not as confident in Gunnar as I am Rexon, Grixer, and Citizen. But Gunnar is a guy to keep your eyes on. Then you have old man Geo. Geo just lifted his hammer last year. Could he lift 2 hammers in a row? Would that make Geo in the conversation for GOAT? I doubt it. I doubt that one. But at the same time, I love Geo, and I'm glad he's back in this position. Sonics have only played one of the 4 teams that they will be playing this year, and that team is M&M. I don't have the things colored right, but they're 3-1 against them, and 2 of those wins, though, were really close. 7-5 in 2 of them, and they won 7-2 again. Sonics, I'm fairly certain, I'm fairly confident they will not get grouped. I think this group of guys are just way too talented for that. I will say early on could be a little rough. I don't know how they're going to integrate Citizen into this role and how everyone else is going to be flexed. However, I am fairly confident in this team to make it out of here. That's why I'm giving them a 75% chance to make it to playoffs. All right, the next team we're going to talk about is Direwolves, who rank in number 20 overall in the world. According to my ELO, I have to keep putting that in there just in case people don't really understand that. But Direwolves, a team that kind of came out of nowhere, honestly, this year, ranks in at Plat 1 with the ELO score of 4,040. They really built that ELO score up because it was really, really low to start this year. Look at stage placements. They were first place APAC South Stage 1. Then they dipped a little bit to 5th place Stage 2, and then first place again Stage 3. Stage 1, by the way, they didn't lose a single match. Not a single match. That's insane. However, what's not insane is their major appearances. They didn't make it to Berlin, but at Charlotte, 9th through 12th, and Sweden, 9th through 12th. If you look at their APAC South stats, they won 17 games and only lost 3. That's pretty crazy, man. That's a pretty good statistic right there. That kind of plays into their flawless Stage 1, but yeah. And then you look at the major, and there's a different story here. They were 3-7 at the major, much, much worse. Looking at the players real quick, my main concerns are Harambe and Ray being brought in. Ray hasn't really played much this year with the team. He's been around the team and kind of knows the system, so I'm pretty confident there's going to be no chemistry issues here. However, again, don't know much about him this year. I know he played with the team like in the past, but no clue where he's at right now. Harambe, on the other hand, had some promise, in my opinion, early on, but at that major, he just was not good. 0.69 at the major was atrocious. I'm kind of hoping Harambe gets his get back here. I don't think he'll play as bad, especially in a kind of weaker division, so I think he'll play better. The three to look at are Pekin, Jackie Wu, and Souffle. Pekin and Jackie Wu play a really solid role on this team, but now that they've lost probably their best player, Souffle steps into that role. Souffle is one of the best APAC players out there, I think. I mean, he's not flashy or anything, but he's always kind of at the top of the statistics on this team and in APAC in general. So if you're looking for a guy to look at, I would look at Souffle here. Again, a very limited data pool against these teams. The only team they played is Wolves, and they got stomped 7-2 the first time, and then put up a great fight and lost 7-8. Direwolves are probably, like if I'm looking at this, they're the most likely team to get grouped. I don't want that to be the case because I like Direwolves and I really want them to go far here, but I'm going to have to give them a 42% chance to make it out of groups. All right, lastly, M&M. They're power rated the 22nd best team in the world, according to me, which puts them at Plat 1 in a 3,905 ELO ranking. M&M, the new kids on the block in UL this year, started off with a 5th place stage 1, and then 2 straight 3rd place finishes to end out the EUL year. They did miss Charlotte, however, 9th through 12th at Berlin, not too bad. Then they got 13th through 16th at Sweden. So, not great statistics here. I'm not in love with this. M&M haven't done really great internationally, but also they've only played at 3 international events, one being SI last year, by the way. Looking at their statistics in EUL, they had 16 wins and 11 losses. It's not too bad. Then in the majors, they had 5 wins and 7 losses. So again, not just a horrible split, but again, not good. Looking at this team, they got some interesting things. The biggest change is Nathan coming in. Nathan is the new guy coming on the block, and I mean, he hasn't just put up any great stats. I'm kind of scratching my head with this move, but at the same time, maybe they just needed the stability that Nathan can bring. Another stable player is Nello. Nello kind of brings that as well. So with Nathan and Nello, maybe they got a more stable, little more even keel team. But then you got the fraggers, Solotov, Tyrant, and Yuzus. Mainly Yuzus and Solotov. Yuzus is probably one of the most talented players I've seen. Solotov and Tyrant are very, very high-level fraggers as well. Whenever these 3 are rolling, Eminem's going to be hard to beat. I mean, if these 3 play well, I think they could knock off Wolves. Now we'll look over here at the head-to-heads, and they've actually had some head-to-heads. They played Wolves and Sonics. Wolves, they're 1-2 against. They did win that first one in stage 1, but have been pretty handily beaten the last 2 times. And against Sonics, they've had a couple close ones, losing 5-7 twice, but then they got beat pretty good 2-7. But they did win a 7-3 against Sonics, so there's a little hope here, but they are 1-3 against them. Eminem, honestly, I mean, other than Direwolves, is the most likely to get grouped here, but at the same time, I feel like Eminem might be the most likely to surprise in this group. Maybe get a 3rd place, kind of get a little higher than they should, so look out for Eminem. If we're being honest, I will give Eminem like a 53% chance to get out of the group stage and make it to playoffs. Okay, Group B, where are we ranking these guys? So this is kind of how I see it playing out. Liquid being the number 1 team, they're the most consistent, consistently great team here, and I don't really see anyone else knocking them out. Number 2, I'm putting Wolves Esports. I think their stability is why they'll be this high. I am a little concerned their talent level might not be there, and Sonics and Liquid might roll them through, and that would make them have to beat Eminem and Direwolves. Number 3, I'm putting Sonics Esports. Look, I think they might be the best team here, but at the same time, I need to kind of see it. And I think it might come off to a slow start, especially their first game being Liquid. Number 4, I'm putting Marshmallows and Molotovs. I mean, the main reason is their fragging power is so much higher than Direwolves. I think the big thing about them is they're way more inconsistent, though, so I'm a little concerned here, but I think Eminem's the good pick for it. Then in 5th place, I'm putting Direwolves. Begrudgingly, I love Direwolves. I wish I could find a way to get them in, but if I'm being honest, I think that the 5th place team, I really hope Souffle and the boys prove me wrong, though. But yeah, that's my list. If y'all don't agree with me, you can let me know in the comments below. If you do agree, you can also let me know in the comments below. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Also, another thing that helps the YouTube algorithm is y'all watching all the way through. So thank you for anyone who watched the video all the way through. Oh, okay. So that's 2 down. I only have 2 more to go and less than 24 hours to do them. So wish me luck.